Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for a Friday edition of the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk all things Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I'm your host, Brady Vini, and today's report includes Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns final injury report and game designations, Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith being mentioned for another NFL job, the Pittsburgh Pirates confirm that they are the cheapest team in the MLB, and more. As always, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Now let's get into the first news story of the day. Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns final injury report and game designations. It is revenge week for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they host the Cleveland Browns at Acrisure Stadium this weekend, following the Browns defeating the Black and Gold 2 Thursdays ago, 24-19. Before heading into this heated matchup, here is the final injury report and game designations for both teams. Starting with the Steelers, they only have 2 players with game designations, one of which being a surprise addition today. The first Steeler is defensive tackle Montravius Adams, who has been trying to work his way off IR with a knee injury and has been ruled out for this game. The second Steeler, who just popped up on the report today, is wide receiver George Pickens, being limited at today's practice with a hamstring injury. Hamstring injuries have been a big issue for the Steelers this year, but I do not expect Pickens to miss this game. Come hell or high water, GP will play in this game against Cleveland, as he and Browns corner Greg Newsome continue to exchange negative quotes on X. Other than Adams and Pickens, all names on the injury report, most of whom were just resting, will play in this weekend's game, including outside linebacker Alex Highsmith, who was confirmed to be playing earlier this week, corner Corey Trice, who was activated off injured reserve yesterday, and wide receiver Calvin Austin, who is in concussion protocol this week. As for the Browns, they have 7 players with game designations. Beginning with those labeled as out are defensive tackle Maurice Hurst, defensive end Sam Kamara, wide receiver Cedric Tillman, and starting left tackle Jedrick Wills. The other 3 players who are questionable are wide receiver Jamari Thrash, corner Miles Harden, and starting safety Juan Thornhill. All other names on Cleveland's injury list, which is loaded with starters, will play. In the end, I don't really think it's going to matter who's in and who's out, as after being embarrassed in Cleveland 2 weeks ago, I think the Steelers are due to give the Browns a beating. There is lots to play for, as the Steelers can mathematically eliminate the Browns from playoff contention and stay in the hunt for the number 1 seed in the AFC, while the Browns can play spoiler once again and take bragging rights of sweeping Pittsburgh into the offseason. This has the makings of being a highly entertaining game on Sunday at 1 p.m. Russell Wilson earns an NFL Weekly award. Last Sunday against the Bengals, Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson played one of his best games in the past handful of years. Wilson was dangerous, completing 29 of 38 passes for 414 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception that really wasn't his fault, and a passer rating of 126.4. With that performance, Russell Wilson earned the NFL's FedEx Air and Ground Player of the Week. This is very deserved, and kind of ironic that Russ won this award sponsored by FedEx, seeing how the father of his offensive coordinator Arthur Smith owns it. The Steelers may have found their starting quarterback for the next handful of years in Wilson, and hopefully Russ can cook for a similar stat line this weekend against the Browns. Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith being mentioned for another NFL job. Speaking of Arthur Smith, last week the Steelers OC was being linked to the University of North Carolina as a top candidate for their football program's vacant head coach position. On Thanksgiving Day, Smith said he was flattered by the offer, but withdrew himself as a candidate for the job, claiming he was happy personally and professionally with the Steelers. Now Smith is being mentioned for another job, this time in the NFL. ESPN NFL Nation reporter for the New York Jets, Rich Cimini, listed his top names to watch for the Jets to hire as their new head coach after the season. Some of Cimini's top candidates include former Titans head coach Mike Vrabel and current Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. However, one of the dark horse candidates named is Smith. The former Falcons head coach being a dark horse candidate for the Jets job makes more sense than him going to UNC. But is the Jets head coach job really better than being Steelers offensive coordinator right now? That organization doesn't know its left from its right. They fired their head coach Robert Saleh, They fired their general manager, Joe Douglas. Their ownership is in flux because of politics, and they're stuck between competing now with a washed-up Aaron Rodgers or going into their third rebuild within the past decade. Once again, I'll state that Smith's goal with the Steelers is to rebuild his resume for another head coaching gig, but he isn't going to take the first offer thrown his way and end up in a bad situation. With that said, until you see Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport saying that Smith is going somewhere, assume that he's going to be the Steelers' OC for the foreseeable future. The Pittsburgh Steelers will enshrine their Hall of Honor class of 2024 this weekend. In July earlier this year, the Pittsburgh Steelers announced 4 new names being inducted into their Hall of Honor. The 4 newest members of the Steelers Hall of Honor are linebacker Jason Gilden, nose tackle Casey Hampton, defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau, and running back Willie Parker. The 4 individuals combined have 6 Super Bowl rings, all with the Steelers, been to 13 Pro Bowls, and LeBeau is already in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, being inducted in 2010. Now, the Steelers announced Friday morning that the Hall of Honor class of 2024 will officially be enshrined at a dinner on Saturday night and then recognized again during halftime of the Steelers-Browns game on Sunday afternoon. Once again, congratulations to Jason Gilden, Casey Hampton, Dick LeBeau, and Willie Parker on your induction into the Steelers Hall of Honor. The Pittsburgh Penguins will not be facing this hated Rangers player tonight. The Pittsburgh Penguins are back in action tonight after a 2-day hiatus in Madison Square Garden against the New York Rangers. Looking at this game, these two teams couldn't be any further apart in terms of play and morale right now. The Penguins roll into the Garden flying high, winning their last 4 games, while the Rags have imploded in the past couple of weeks, losing 6 of their last 7. The Rangers are falling apart on the ice, and the same can be said for them off the ice. Breaking news just came down this Friday morning that one of their most disliked players from around the league could be leaving. Rangers defenseman and captain Jacob Trouba will not be in the lineup tonight against the Penguins due to roster management purposes, per NHL insider for The Athletic, Chris Johnston. Further news from another columnist for The Athletic, Arthur Staple, New York has recalled defenseman Victor Mancini, stating that Trouba could be traded or waived at any moment. Trouba has a partial no-trade clause, meaning he can block some of the trade offers, but one thing's for sure, it looks like his time in New York is over. I know a lot of hockey fans, including myself, dislike Trouba and his dirty hits a lot, but man, what an unceremonious end for a captain. Tonight's game just got a lot more interesting, especially if Trouba is traded or waived by game time. Puck drop for tonight's matchup is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus and Hulu, and it will be Alex Nedeljkovic in between the pipes for the Penguins opposite Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers. New Pirates assistant pitching coach Brent Strum speaks for the first time. On November 13th, the Pittsburgh Pirates hired a new hitting coach in Matt Hague and a new assistant pitching coach in Brent Strum. Now, a little under a month later, the Pirates have made the hire of Strum official, and he spoke to the Pittsburgh media for the first time on Thursday. Firstly, the 76-year-old Strum talked about his relationship with Pirates pitching coach Oscar Marin and how he views the current pitching staff. I've had an opportunity to work with Oscar quite a bit. Very impressed by this young pitching coach. With my experience, I hope to be able to be some eyes and ears for him to add maybe a nugget or two to help him. Obviously, the Pirates have done a tremendous job developing throughout their system, and what they have right now is a plethora of talent, and I think it'll be fun to kind of nurture these young guys, take them to the next level. Obviously, my goal is to make the playoffs, and with a pitching staff like that, I'd hate to be the opposing team going against that pitching staff. Playoffs is something Strum is quite used to, as in the past 11 seasons, he was the pitching coach for the Houston Astros and the Arizona Diamondbacks. In those 11 seasons, Strum has been to the postseason 7 times, making the World Series 4 times, and winning once in 2017 with the Astros. Making playoffs was something that the veteran coach emphasized, saying, "Right now, I just want to help this ball club, and nothing would be more exciting than to get into the playoffs with this pitching staff in a short series, because, you know, anything can happen in a short series. I would not bet against this team if we could possibly get in." Lastly, Strum was asked about what his specific role would be within the Pirates coaching staff. "I don't think my role actually has been defined. I just know that I'm going to be the best assistant pitching coach that I possibly can be. I've been a head guy for a long time. I know what that's all about. I know the stresses, I know the anxiety that comes with that job. And at this point in time, right now, I'm just going to help Oscar out as best I can. Strum would continue talking about how the Pirates pitching staff and development has been on an uptick and has not gone unnoticed around the league. All I can say is that I am excited to have such a decorated pitching coach get his hands on some of the Bucs' young pitchers like Paul Skeens, Jared Jones, and Bubba Chandler. With Strum now in the fold, there should be no reason for the Pirates pitching staff to not be the team's biggest strength again in 2025. One last time, welcome to Pittsburgh, Brent Strum. And finally, the Pirates confirmed that they are the cheapest team in the MLB. I just complimented the Pirates for their good coaching hires, but now it's time to bury them for their poor, or more accurately, lack of off-season talent acquisitions. Yesterday, a pretty noticeable signing was made in the MLB, but when you hear who made the signing for what price, Pirates fans will be infuriated. On Thursday afternoon, the Sacramento Athletics signed right-handed starting pitcher Luis Severino to a franchise record $67 million contract. Yes, you heard that right. The Athletics, who are currently in the process of moving to Las Vegas and will be playing in a minor league stadium for the next couple of years, just spent more money in free agency with this singular signing than the Pirates probably will this entire offseason. ESPN MLB insider Jeff Passan added that with this move, the A's are trying to bump their payroll into the $100 million range, something the Pirates promised last year but failed to deliver. The Bucs front office has become so frustrating that it's comical at this point. It is so Pirates-like to watch a crappy organization right now in the Athletics make a franchise record free agent signing that blows out of the water the Bucs' biggest free agent contract ever given out. For those of you wondering, that contract was $39 million over 3 years to Francisco Liriano in 2015. This obviously shows that Bob Nutting still isn't putting any money into the team, and general manager Ben Cherington is still asleep at the wheel. And yeah, I seriously doubt that the Bucs are in on another big deal like signing Juan Soto. Get ready, Pirates fans. The Bucs are going to do their usual one-year signing of a few players past their prime, like Anthony Rizzo and Jose Leclerc, and call it a day. The other half of their off-season plan will be doing nothing but praying that players like Jack Sawinski, Henry Davis, Andy Rodriguez, Colin Holderman, etc., will have bounce-back seasons. When you hear Bob Nutting or Ben Cherington say that it's time to make the postseason and that the Bucs are going to compete, don't take them seriously. Spend Nutting, win Nutting. Please, Bob, sell the team. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up a Friday edition of the Steel City Sports Report. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and share this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys join me back here on Sunday as I will be live for instant reaction and analysis to the Steelers and Browns game. If not, I will see you guys back here on Monday with some more Pittsburgh sports news.